tell me the reason, tell the audience why you decided to reach out to me on this call and what you'd like help with.
I appreciate it, David. The main thing is, and I know everybody deals with it differently, but after being in and out of insurance for a few years, it just kind of has become more and more of an issue for me over time is call reluctance. You know, picking up that phone, it gets to be 900 pounds over time, and hitting that green button and dialing and making those whether they be cold calls, warm calls, referrals, it sometimes gets a little bit frustrating and intimidating. Just looking for some help, some assistance. You know, how do you overcome that?
So can you better define what call reluctance is for you? If you can kind of give me a scenario that, you know, you experience it in more than others, or just kind of describe it, and let's see if we can kind of come up with some ideas to help.
Kind of dig into it a little bit. I get leads, of course, and you know, they're qualified leads. They're people that have asked for contact on how to help with their insurance solutions, or life insurance, or mortgage protection, final expense, what have you. And just picking up that phone, I know ideally we're going to make 50, 100, 150 calls a day, or dials a day, and maybe connect with 20, 30% of them. But actually picking up that phone and dialing that number and hitting that button, for some reason, when I get down to it, I can dial the number, but hitting that button, it's almost like an anxiety sometimes just comes over me, and it makes it difficult to, you know, reach out to that person. It makes it very difficult to, I don't know how to put it into words sometimes, but it's difficult to get on the phone, and almost a fear sometimes, just an overwhelming anxiety that causes my brain just to freeze, stop thinking, and I can't seem to hit that button and go through with it.
Have you always been like this since you started selling insurance?
On and off. I went through a time when I was with, I started with Primerica, don't hate me, and didn't seem to have any troubles then, and then transitioned to some more traditional type of companies as an agent with them. And I found the longer I was with a few of these traditional companies, the more difficult it tended to get. And I don't understand why. Whereas now there are days when I just feel like, you know, yeah, I want to get up and make 100 dials, but I almost get caught up in busy work. My hands find an excuse not to grab the phone. They find paperwork instead of the phone. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the older I get, the more difficult it becomes. Or if it's just, I don't know.
So let's say you get in front of a prospect, right? You overcome this reluctance and you get an appointment. Out of 10 appointments, how much business are you writing as form of policies out of 10 appointments? Like what percentage?
I would say probably 20%, 20 or 30%.
So 2 or 3 policies out of every lead? Or out of every presentation?
Out of it, I'd say out of every presentation, out of 10 presentations, I can probably get about 20%. You know?
Okay, so 2 out of 10
presentations we're looking at. Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of leads again are you predominantly working?
I get mortgage protection leads, and I also have access to final expense leads.
Are these direct mail, Facebook leads, internet leads,
Yes.
telemarketing?
Direct mail.
Direct mail. Okay. Are they fresh, exclusive, or are they old, aged?
It's a mix of old and aged. None of them are exclusive, but you know, we're looking at probably 2 weeks to, you know, a year old.
Okay. Okay. 2 weeks to a year old. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you say the average is older than younger?
Yeah, the average
like
is going to be 6 months to a year.
Okay. All right. Okay. Have you ever worked exclusive leads before?
Not really, no. I haven't. I probably could. I could purchase some exclusive leads, but I know they're a little bit more on the pricey side. I just haven't jumped onto those yet.
I mean, kind of the first thought I'm thinking here is that you're working a lead that's going to be more difficult by design, which that may contribute to your anxiety of calling, right? I mean, anxiety is irrational, but we have anxiety because of events that have happened or because of beliefs that we have.
Right.
And if you're calling a lead that's been called, and if it's mortgage protection, it's been called a bunch of times by the time you get to it, or a handful. A lot of those people aren't going to be interested. They're tired of you calling them, and they're going to yell at you and scream at you. And the point is that in itself, if you have anxiety and you know that that's probably going to happen more often than not, that doesn't contribute towards a better mentality or experience with cold calling or with setting appointments.
Right.
Whereas if you've got fresh leads, you have exclusive leads, and you're the first person that calls, obviously not all of them are going to say, yeah, come on over and let me throw my checkbook at you, right? But you're going to have a larger percentage that say, yeah, I remember sending that off. I'm interested. And we'll book with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, I think some of the frustration I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but perhaps there's something to working the leads you are that contribute to that, because what you're essentially doing, well, I don't know, it's essentially doing, you're closer to cold calling than you are to warm calling for fresh leads. And with cold calling comes a different mentality than just working leads, because you've got to work through a bunch of leads or a bunch of names to get an interested prospect or presentation. Whereas with leads that are fresh, that never been worked before, it cuts down on that substantially. And the experience is not easy, but it's not as either. Any thoughts on that?
That actually makes a lot of sense. Hadn't really considered that, but it does make a lot of sense, because with the quality of the lead, it would make the setting the appointment considerably easier. Of course, the older the lead, the less likely they are to remember it or care, or consider they might have already gotten some product in place already and already had an agent buy, or 2 or 3 or 10. So that does make a lot of sense.